Howdy folks, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the brewery. Have a little chat. It's about a question I see popping up, well, pops up here and there, but it's a question that pretty much every home brewer comes to at some point in their journey, and that is, should I keg my beer? Yeah, should you buy a keg setup? Obviously, yeah, as brewers we start off with bottling, unless you're one of those rare few who go straight to the whole shebang, but generally we start off with the basic kits and we start off bottling and we work our way through. So at some point we get to the part where we're over bottling and we want to go to kegs, because kegs are, reportedly going to save us some time and they're easier. And fuck, who doesn't want beer on tap in the house, in the garage, wherever, readily accessible for them to drink anytime they want? Yeah, yes, I know it's a silly question, but for me, there's some things I'd like to see brewers thinking about and getting straight within their own brewing setup before they go to kegging. And I'm going to talk about it in just a second. I'll quickly shout out the Patreons for the channel. Thanks guys for your support. There's a link down the bottom if you want to check out what Patreon's about. Thank you to the subscribers, and if you like what's going on, give me a thumbs up. But anyway, before anybody should go to kegging, in my opinion, you should be sitting down and looking at whether you have taken your actual brewing process and your fermenting process as far as you're willing to go. And that means, have you gone as far as you're going to with your equipment for brewing? So if you'd like to be brewing all grain on a particular kind of equipment, then you should be doing that first. That should be the first thing you're looking at. If you're not fermenting on the equipment that you'd like to, get that sorted out first. So if you're brewing kits and extracts and bits and pieces, and you want to go to all grain, then and you've got the time to do it, and you can, then do that first. Buy your all-in-one or your freebie system or whatever it is. Get the money spent on that first, because that's going to make you better beer. If you haven't got your ferment system taken to where it is, or whether you need better temp control system or just a better fermenter, if you're still using a 30 litre bucket fermenter, upgrade yourself to some, at the very least, a pressure fermenter, and a temperature control, whether it be a fridge or whatever it is. But get those things sorted first, because they're the things that are going to make your beer better. There's no point going through the journey and going, I'm going to spend a whack of money on this stuff if it's not going to improve your beer, when you could have spent on something that will. Because unless you're just in this hobby to make cheap piss, if you're in it to just make cheap piss, then grab yourself a fucking shitty fridge and some cheap fucking gear off bloody marketplace, and keg your beer, because it doesn't matter, because you're not worried about making it any better and taking the time and the effort to do so. But if you are wanting to make your beer better, and most of us are, then take the steps to do that before you go to kegging. Why? Because better beer is better. It's fucking simple. Don't spend money on things that aren't going to make your beer better, when there's things that will make your beer better that you can be spending the money on. Kegging does not make your beer better. Don't listen to anybody who tells you it does, because it doesn't. Bottled beer, keg beer, it's all the fucking same. It's all beer. What goes into the keg is what you're making. The same as what goes in the bottle. So if you're not making great beer, Doesn't matter if you've got it in a bottle or a keg. Get yourself to that point where you're making the best beer you can. Then get your keg set up. And the same thing there. Think about that. Yeah, I get the brewing progresses and all the rest of it, and I've done the same thing. Like when I finally got myself to go into kegs, I started off, I had 2 taps, then I had 3, and then 4. Yeah, and it grew to now where I've got the the Series X with eight taps, and I sit here regularly looking at the currently the 5 collars that are still hanging off my other beer fridge and thinking, should I be putting taps back on there and putting more kegs back in that fridge instead of half filling it with commercial beer. But that's something you want to leave. Get your production side right first. Because the money you're going to spend on a keg setup is going to easily cover the cost of that better equipment. And that fridge sitting back there is the single most expensive thing in my brewery, and it cost me, reality is it cost more than my 3V system did to set up. So there's a lot of equipment, there's a lot of quality equipment in a keg setup. Even a basic one, you're going to get. You're going to buy yourself a Brazilla, a Guten, a Grainfather. For the money you're going to spend on even a fairly standard, two tap keg setup. So put it into the equipment. That's it. That's all the discussion is. Got any comments or questions? Stick them down the bottom. You don't agree with me? Fine. Let me know. Just bear in mind, I'm not saying kegs aren't a good thing. Kegs have wonderful wanker value. They really do. And there's nothing. There is better, but it is quite nice to pull the beer off the tap. But I'd much rather be pouring a good beer out of a bottle than an ordinary beer off the keg any day of the week. And I don't think there'd be anybody who could say differently. So guys, that's me, Little John. Do you need kegs? Only if you're ready. So until I see you again, brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer, good brewing.